Hi, and welcome back to Lisa's Stamp Studio. I've got 3 party favors for you today that you can use for Halloween. Now keep in mind you can change up the theme on these and use them all year round. Great for birthdays, Valentine's Day, fall, Thanksgiving, even Christmas. Now these favors can be used for classroom parties. They can be used for regular parties that you have at your home, or perhaps you're going to make a small little hostess gift to take it with you to another event. No matter how you create these or what you create them for, I think you're going to love these 3 simple ideas. If this is your first time visiting my YouTube channel, I would love to have you subscribe. Click the subscribe button down below, and next to it you'll find a small bell icon. If you click that, you'll get notifications of when I'm live here on YouTube, as well as when I upload a new video. Let's head over to the stamp table and let's get started on today's projects. My first project is going to involve the tiny treat boxes. They come in a package of 16, and you're going to see they have a protective film on them that just is going to need to be peeled away. That's to protect the acetate while shipping. I've taken all of that off here, and I've just creased up the box in each of the directions. Now they're already scored and ready to go for you. I know this is going to be a little bit difficult to see because it's clear, so I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet, hoping that contrast is going to help. To close the box, I'm going to take this notched side and place it down first. Then the 2 side tabs are going to come down and they're going to tuck underneath it. And then this last one with the edge that sticks up just interlocks all of them. This is going to be quite a sturdy box. I filled mine with candy, of course, novelty items like rub-on tattoos for the kids, novelty erasers, or any other small gift idea will fit inside of here. And then of course the top just notches down. We're going to assume that this one has already been filled. I'm going to be using designer series paper for mine, but you can use cardstock. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to bend around the box if you don't have it filled sturdily, but it does work well. I've cut this 2 inches by 9 inches to fit this size box specifically. I'm looking for the front and the top of the box because I'm going to wrap the designer paper starting here at the bottom, and I'm just going to crease it along the edges. This is going to give me an idea of where my adhesive is going to go to hold the bottom edges. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to place a piece of tear and tape right here. You can use glue dots as well if you prefer. I like the tear and tape because it's very abundant and it's easy to use. So go ahead and I'll burnish that down. Now keep in mind, this is the bottom of the box. This is the top of the box. Here's the lip. This is going to come around. So you're going to need to put another piece of tear and tape on this side as well. I'm working close to the edge so that it won't look noticeable or lift. Once I have that in place, I'm going to burnish that tape down, and then I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. This paper piercing tool attachment I have on here is going to make it really easy to take off that paper backing. So back here to the bottom of the box, I'm going to place my seam right in the center, and then I'll press, and then I'm going to crease along the edges. Now this time I'm going to make those creases a lot more predominant. I'm going to pull the paper tautly as I crease, and then I'll crease this bottom one. Now we still have to take off that paper edge here on the back of the tear and tape. And then all you have to do is just line those up and then press that in place. So now the front of our box is all covered and decorated. Keep in mind that your filler is visible from the side, which makes this a great presentation. Now let's decorate it. And you can make yours as simple as you'd like, but I'm going to use some of this beautiful black glittered organdy ribbon. I'm going to place that here around the bottom of the box. And to help hold it in place, I am going to use a glue dot. So I'm going to use that paper piercing tool attachment once again. And here at the bottom of my box, I'm just going to set that glue dot down. I'm going to find the center of my ribbon, and I'm going to adhere that here. That's going to help tack it down. And then I'll bring up those ends here to the top. Now what you can do is you can tie it, which is what I'm going to do on this one. I do have an additional sample for you over on my website at lisasstampstudio.com. That's going to give you another idea of how you can tie up the top. I used baker's twine on that one. Then I'm just going to tie this into a knot. I'll take my scissors and just trim up those ends. And now I'm going to decorate the front. I have a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock here, and I'm going to be using my Memento ink pad. This water-based ink pad is going to work extremely well since I'm going to use the alcohol-based Stampin' Blends markers. I'm using this adorable little Frankie image, and he is from the stamp set called Boo to You. I'm going to ink him up, and I'm going to stamp him here. You'll find this image part of the Boo to You stamp set here that I just mentioned. Cute, cute images, couple greetings, and we're going to use all three of these today on the projects. I did mention I use the alcohol-based Stampin' Blends markers. There's a light and a dark. I prefer to use the light first. That's just a personal preference. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to work on just the body of his shirt. I have one that's already finished to share with you, but I wanted to give you a couple tips about using the Stampin' Blends markers. You're going to color in just like you would a marker. The great thing about the blends is that they are dual-sided. So you can see here there's a thicker end and a thinner end. So depending on the areas that you have to fill, you can choose a tip that's more conducive to your liking. Once that's done, I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to add a little bit of dark. And I'm going to work all that dark image on one side. I do have an entire series on using the Stampin' Blends markers. That's right here on YouTube. And then I'm going to come back over it with the light and blend those colors together. That's going to help eliminate those harsh little areas between the dark and the light. And as I promised, I have one that's already finished. Isn't he cute? I did use the Granny Apple Green and the basic black Stampin' Blends for the hair and of course for his skin. On a separate scrap of thick Whisper White cardstock, I'm going to use the words from that stamp set that say Boo to You. I have my 1-inch circle punch and I'm going to punch those out. We've got our box and now I'm going to attach my little Frankie. So I'm going to flip him over. I've got my full-size dimensionals here, so I'll take a couple of these. Love these. They are pre-cut and ready to go. I'm going to add several of those here to the back to help balance him. And then we'll take off those paper backings. Here on the front of the box, I'm going to move my Frankie all the way over to the right. And I'm going to take one more dimensional with the words Boo to You. And this I'm going to tuck up near his hand. But to finish this off, I thought it needed some of those adorable little googly eyes. So I have those here. You can see that they come in an assortment of colors, lots of fun. My Take Your Pick tool is a wonderful thing for this. The putty tip is going to help me pick them up. I'm going to use 2 different sizes, and I like to place them on there first to make sure this is what I want. So I've got a larger one there, and then I've got a smaller one here that'll create a little bit of character for him. And then using my Take Your Pick tool and a glue dot, I'm going to pick that up, and I'll place the glue dot right on top of the back end of that eye, and then we'll do the smaller one as well. I'll use that paper piercing tool attachment to help me lift those off. So I've got one here, and then I have another one here. Super cute box, isn't it? And really, really quick. This is something even the kids can help you create. I just used my scissors to cut this out and of course the punch here, but you can vary this up as you'd like. My next project is going to include one of my very favorite things, chocolate. I'm using a Hershey bar for this, but keep in mind you can use other full-size candy bars and just tweak up the dimensions. I'm going to create a wrap for the bar first. And I'm using a piece of Designer Series paper. This comes from the package that's called Come Together. It's from the holiday catalog. It measures 6.5 by 6. I want this edge to be on the outside, so I'm going to work from the inside. And like most of the Stampin' Up! Papers, they are double-sided. I'm going to use that exact same tear tape that we've done once before. I'm going to place that right along the outside edge here on the 6.5-inch side. I'm going to place another piece of tear and tape here along the bottom of the 6-inch side. I'm going to press to burnish that tape down inside the paper, and then we're going to flip this over. Another piece of tear and tape is going to go here along the edge. And once again, I'll burnish that down inside the paper. I'm going to flip it back over. This is the wrong side where we have the majority of the tape. I'm going to lay the bar here upside down so that you can get an idea of how this is going to work. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the designer paper around the candy bar. But very important that you need to know, do not wrap too tightly, because what we're going to do is then take the candy bar out, and you want to make sure that it's not so tight that you can't get the candy bar back in. So again, we're just doing this for placement. Just giving myself just a little bit of a crease mark, just gently kind of folding it. This is going to eventually come down first. You see the tape here is going to get removed and these are going to be adhered together. Now that we have an idea on placement, let's go ahead and take that same Take Your Pick tool that we just used in the previous card, in the previous project. We're going to remove that paper backing. I'm going to lay the candy bar here, looking where I've slightly creased the paper. I'm avoiding this area here at the bottom. As a matter of fact, I'm going to flip that edge of that wrapper up so that it's not going to be in the way. On this side now, I'm going to come in and I'm going to take off this side. I find that if I just take them off a little at a time, just like before, I have less sticky mess to have to work with. All right, so I'm going to start with this end down here. And again, I'm not going to make it too tight, and I'm going to hold that in place. This is what's going to connect them, and very important that you leave a little bit of give here. Once you're happy with it, go ahead and press right against that candy bar to seal that seam. I'm going to slide the candy bar out, and I'm going to pinch the bottom. This is where we had placed the other edge of tear and tape. And then you're going to want to press that as well. Now, if you have a little area like mine that's not even, don't worry. Grab your scissors and come in and give that a little bit of a trim. Now that that is sealed, what we're going to do is we're going to use the 1-inch circle punch to create a hole. So I'm going to just lightly pinch the top 2 open pieces together. I'm going to slide my punch in upside down so I can see where I'm going to try to navigate equal space on both sides, and then you're going to squeeze. The next step is to add our ribbon. I've got about 22 inches here of the beautiful scalloped ribbon. This has a linen base in the center, and this is pretty peacock. It coordinates with the paper. The one thing I love about Stampin' Up! Products is the color coordination. You're going to slide the ribbon through both of those holes. I'm looking to make my ends as even as possible. I'm going to carefully open this up. I'm just going to give a little bit of give there, and then we're going to take the Hershey bar and we're going to slide this inside. I'm going to take the Hershey bar and slide this inside. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to kind of close up the wrapper a little bit so that it's not too buckled, and then just slide this down. We've got our 2 ends here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and make a single tie. So I'm putting them together and then just making a slip knot. And then I'm going to pull that tightly. And then once you're happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and cut that on a pretty angle. And then look what happens. The candy bar comes in and out by pulling the ribbon. Isn't that fun? All right, let's now go ahead and let's decorate this. Since I've already showed you how to do this, I'm going to go ahead and just show you the one I've already finished. I showed you on the previous project how I used the Boo to You stamp set to stamp the image. Here I've used the werewolf because the colors work really well with the designer series paper. Here he is in that stamp set. I've used the other words here. I have all the cutting dimensions for this down in the video description below. All I'm going to do now is attach this to my candy bar wrapper. I've placed dimensionals here towards the center of the back of that square of the image. Since my candy bar opens this way, I want to make sure that my image or my greeting is going to show in the same direction. So I'm going to place that here. And there we go. Super cute and really easy. This designer series paper is from the package called See a Silhouette. Beautiful pigmented paper images. They are double-sided. I'm opting to use this one for my Halloween favor. I have scored and cut it before you joined me, but I want to make sure that I go over those dimensions with you. I made a template because I thought this would be a lot easier to see than trying to follow me here. So you're going to cut the paper 3.5 by 6.5. You can use cardstock or designer series paper. Then you're going to score it 1/2 inch and 2 inch, and we're going to add tear tape along the bottom. So I have those score lines already done, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in using my bone folder and go over them to create really nice crisp creases. Whenever you're creating a 3D project, you certainly want to make sure that you do that so that you have not only a good definition of where the tape is going to go, but so that everything is going to fit together very nicely when it's finished. This edge right here, we are going to place tear and tape. So I've got my tape once again, and we're going to work that right down the side. Just like before, we're going to burnish that in place, and then we're going to open it up to the inside, and we're going to place tear and tape here along the bottom as well. That's going to seal the bottom for us. And then again, we're going to burnish it. I'm going to start on the outside with my paper piercing tool attachment as I've done before. This time I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet because I know it's sticky and I don't want it to stick to my work surface. Liquid glue, hot glue, and adhesive will not stick to this. It makes it a great accompaniment in your stamping area. Then I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to remove that paper backing as well. What we're going to do now is we're going to fold in this left-hand side where the tear and tape is, and we are going to seal it by closing the top flap, and then we are going to seal it at the bottom. So this has now made a small tube. And of course we have to decorate it, so I've got another image from that adorable Boo to You stamp set. That's the one here, Boo to You greeting with the 1-inch punch that we have used previously. I'm going to place dimensionals on the back. Now you might be wondering, what are you going to put in that pocket? In addition to the one that I'm going to share with you, think of long individually wrapped licorice sticks. I know that I have found those at big box stores. To adhere this, I'm going to give you another tip. I'm going to flip this over, And I'm going to use a glue dot because we're going to tuck this in a different position. This is going to go up underneath his little hand here, and I'll tack that in place. In my case, I have pencils. Now you can get them with a holiday theme on them, or you can get them plain and just tuck them down inside. It does work best if they are not sharpened. I have shared 3 great party favor ideas that can be used for friends and family, trick-or-treaters, any holiday, any occasion. Which one is your favorite? Leave me a comment down below. And if you have enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up here on YouTube. That is a like. It makes them and I both very happy. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.